Hello everyone, this is Satyam Zoology and welcome to my channel. So in this video I am going to explain about the function of the human heart. So this is the function of the human heart. Okay, function of the human heart, it includes mainly, so it is the cardiac cycle, number 1, cardiac cycle, number 2, double circulation, double circulation. Okay, right. Number 1, cardiac cycle. Number 2, double circulation. So here first of all we will discuss about the cardiac cycle. Cardiac cycle. Here, so cardiac cycle includes mainly, first of all, the function of the human heart means how the heart it is functioning, how the heart it is working. So the working of the heart, or the events that are which are occurring in the heartbeat, so they are called as functioning of the heart. Here, so in the cardiac cycle it is completed in 3 steps. Number one, the first step is, it is the auricular systole. First one is auricular systole. Okay, so number 2, ventricular systole. Okay, number 3, joint diastole. Okay, auricular systole, ventricular systole, giant diastole. Here the systole means contraction, diastole means relaxation. Here the auricular systole means auricles will get contraction, ventricular systole means ventricle will get contraction. So joint to diastole means, here, so I told you that the diastole means relaxation, joint means both the auricles and ventricles both will get the relaxation, or they will get to the original state. So that is called giant diastole. Here the time period which is required for the auricular systole, it is 0.1 second. The time period which is required for the ventricular systole, it is required for, so 0.3 second. The time period which is required for the completion of the giant diastole, it is 0.4 second. The total time period which is required for the complete cardiac cycle, it is a 0.8 second. Here, so 0.8 second time period it is required for the completion of the cardiac cycle means. So first of all we will see the definition of the cardiac cycle. We will see the definition of the cardiac cycle. Here, the cardiac events that occur from the beginning of the one heartbeat to the beginning of the next heartbeat. Cardiac cycle means, here, okay, cardiac cycle means cardiac events that occur beginning of the one heartbeat, beginning of the one heartbeat to the beginning of the next heartbeat. Okay, next heartbeat constitute cardiac cycle. Okay, this is the definition of the cardiac cycle. Cardiac events that occur beginning of the one heartbeat to the, so beginning of the next heartbeat is, or called as cardiac cycle. It is completed in 3 steps. Number 1, auricular systole, and number 2, ventricular systole, number 3, giant diastole. So we will discuss, okay, about each one. Okay, so first one, so to discuss these 3 steps we required a diagram. So I will draw a, okay, so rough diagram which is very helpful for the discussion of the, okay, cardiac cycle, right? This is the heart of the human beings, right? we'll see that this is the heart of the human beings. Okay, so this is the left auricle, this one is a right auricle, this is the right ventricle, this is the left ventricle. Yes, so here the auricular systole, it starts from the SA node. Here there is a pacemaker, we already discussed about that SA node. It is also called sinoatrial node. It is also called as pacemaker. Pacemaker, why we call pacemaker? It can generate action potential, so means little bit electricity. So the action potential or the electricity which is required for the heartbeat, it is produced by a SA node, that is why we call it as a pacemaker. Yes, so here the action potential which is generated by SA node, so it will, when it will enters into the walls of the auricles, so the auricles will, at that time the auricles will get contract. Next, so this action potential which is generated by SA node, it will reaches to the AV node which is there here at the left lower corner of the right atrium. Yes, this is called AV node. Okay, auriculoventricular node. So it will receive the action potential from the SA node, and this action potential, it will pass through the bundle of his, and so it into the walls of the ventricles. When it will pass into the walls of the ventricles through a Purkinje fibers, these 5 branches are called Purkinje fibers. So okay, when the action potential, it is spread into the walls of the ventricles, at that time the ventricles also get contract, means undergo systole. Okay, so by this process the auricles and ventricles get functioning. Okay, so this is about the electricity which is generated by the SA node. Okay, we will see one by one, so each and every step. Yes, so first of all we will see about the auricular systole, number 1. Okay, first step, that is the auricular systole. Okay, in the auriculars, what happens in the auricular systole here? So when auricles get contract, so number 1, in the auricular systole, auricles will get contract. Second one is the blood from auricles enters into ventricles. Okay, so the blood which is present in the auricles, it will enters into the ventricles. Here there is a deoxygenated blood, here the oxygenated blood, and so it will enters into the ventricles. Then here deoxygenated blood which is present in the right auricle, it will get into the ventricle, so at the time of auricular systole. Yes, next one, let's we discuss about the second one, that is the ventricular systole. When ventricular systole means contraction of the ventricles. When ventricles get contract, the blood which is present in the ventricle blood, so it will enters into the pulmonary artery and also aorta from left. From left ventricle, the blood which enters into aorta, here this blood which from the blood from the right ventricle, so it will enters into the blood vessel, that is the pulmonary artery, so we call that is the pulmonary artery. Yes, number 1, here ventricles get contract. Second step is, okay, the blood which is present in the ventricles, they that enters into the blood will enters into the so pulmonary artery as well as aorta. The blood enters into pulmonary artery and aorta. Yes. In the third step, there is a very important step, that is the here when ventricles get contract, the blood, it will create a pressure on the tricuspid one and bicuspid walls. Here there is a tricuspid wall, and so at the left side, so there is a wall that is called bicuspid wall. Here, okay, when that pressure, the blood which is present in the ventricles, it create on a pressure on a tricuspid and bicuspid walls, means here the closure of tricuspid and bicuspid walls, closure of bi and tricuspid walls create or produce a sound that is the lub. The first sound of the blood heartbeat is called lub, lub. So lub, which is produced at the closure of tricuspid and bicuspid wall at the ventricular systole. Okay, next one here. So means lub sound will produces lub. Okay, sound produces at the when closure of tri and bicuspid walls. Yes, next one. So next one, it is the joint diastole. Third one is joint diastole. I already told that joint diastole means both auricles and ventricles get a relaxation here. So when auricles and ventricles get relaxed, so the pressure of the ventricles, it decreases than the pressure of the blood which is present in the pulmonary artery and aorta. So that is why, so there is a chance to enter the blood from the aorta into the ventricles, and also there is a chance to enter the blood from the pulmonary artery into the right ventricles. But so there is a wall at the closure, at the opening of the pulmonary artery. So that wall is called so that wall, the wall which is present at the opening of the pulmonary artery is called, it is a pulmonary wall. Here there is a pulmonary valve. Here at the there is a wall at the opening of the aorta. I already told in the previous video, that is the aortic valve. Aortic valve means the pulmonary valve and aortic valves closes here when the blood is entering into the ventricles from these two blood vessels. So these two walls closes and here. So when the closure of pulmonary wall and also aortic wall, it create a sound. Closure of so aortic and pulmonary wall create a sound that is called dub. D-U-B, dub, or D-U-P, dub. So this second sound of the heartbeat, it produces at the closure, at the time of closure of the pulmonary and aortic valves at the joint diastole. Okay, so this is about the Okay, cardiac cycle, I will repeat again. Cardiac cycle means the events that occur from the beginning of the one heartbeat to the beginning of the next heartbeat. That is called cardiac cycle. It includes mainly two steps. Number one, auricular systole. Number two, ventricular systole. Number three, giant diastole. Here the systole means contraction, diastole means relaxation. That is why, so the time period that required for the auricular systole, it is 0.1 second. Then the time period which is required for the completion of the ventricular systole, it is 0.3 second. The time period that is required for the completion of the giant diastole, it is required for 0.4 second. The total time period for the cardiac cycle, it is a 0.8 second. It is from 0.10 plus 0.3 plus 0.4, it is total 0.8. Yes, so we will discuss one by one. So at the time of auricular systole, the auricles will get contract, and so when auricle get contract, the blood which is present in the auricles will enter into the ventricles. So next, in the ventricular systole, so the ventricles get contract. When the ventricle get contract, the blood which is present in the ventricles, that enters into the pulmonary artery and as well as aorta. Next one, so when the blood enters into that pulmonary artery and aorta, at that time the valves which are present, dicuspid and tricuspid valves which are present in the auricles and in between the auricles and ventricles, they will close, okay, to prevent the reverse flow of the blood from the ventricles to the auricles. So when the closure of the tricuspid and bicuspid valves, it create a pressure, create a sound, that is called lub. Next one, so giant diastole. In the giant diastole, when in the giant diastole, the auricles and ventricles both get relaxation. So when both get relaxation, so the blood, okay, the blood, the blood period, the pressure of the blood which is present in the ventricles, it is decreased than the pressure of the blood which is present in the pulmonary artery and aorta. So that is why there is a chance to reverse flow of the blood from these two blood vessels. So that to prevent that reverse flow, the pulmonary wall and also aortic wall closes here. So by the closure of these pulmonary wall and aortic wall, create a second sound of the heart, that is the dub or dub. Okay, okay, right. Thank you. So with this we have completed cardiac cycle.